So her explanation, it made sense to me, right? But I have, how do I say this nicely? I've said this plenty of times, and if you've been following the podcast, you know. I don't believe shit on the internet. I understand marketing. I understand backtracking. I understand positioning when it comes to marketing. So with that, the thing that disgusted me the most was AU podcast that was shooting her bill when you could have just let her be out there by yourself.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to This Is Scary podcast. Shout out to my girl over there. And me and her had a conversation because it was, there was a conversation about preference and protecting black women. And like I told the host over there, you can't slap black men in the face and say, hey, continue to protect me as I slap you in the face.
I mean, and that's a solid point. And even the ideal of protection, right? Like if it's you can't disagree with me at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
Then we're never going to be in a place where you are ever going to be under, a man to protect you.
Yeah.
Right? Like that we got to be able to have some sort of conversation of when an out of bounds comment is made, at least.
Absolutely. And then, the other thing that really got me hot was there became this conversation over the past week of women settling. And bruh, I'm here to say it, and I might be completely wrong, and I have no problem doing like I did at the beginning of this podcast, even though I didn't backtrack. I don't have a problem with saying I was wrong. I don't believe women settle as much as they think. And if we do talk about settling, I do want to have the conversation of what does settling for men look like and what do settling for women look like? Because in all intents and purposes, the topic of settling for women comes into play when they have to take on a man that makes less than them. However, men settling does not look like them taking on women that make less than them.
Yeah.
And I do want to talk about what does it look like when men settle and what does it look like when women settle? Because men, what does that really look like?
Gavin say he didn't get enough heat from the silverware. He actually want to go deeper into the heat today.
Nah, I just would have told y'all black women can't tip, but I ain't do that. I ain't go that route. I didn't tell y'all that y'all got a problem with tipping. When a group of y'all sit down at the table, nobody don't say nothing about y'all tipping. But no, seriously, and all jokes aside, like what does that look like? Because I was asking that question.
What was some of the responses that you received back from the ladies?
Why do women settle, and then why black women don't?
Because
that's all it was.
Here's the thing, because I doubted that question was even answered. Right?
It was not answered at all.
So all right,
because I was telling women, let me put it like this. This is what was happening. Women were saying, why is there a problem with women settling? And why is it a problem with women having preferences? I then asked the question, when have men ever told y'all they have a problem with y'all preferences? And I got left on red many a times. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. And I'm not here to talk about the 10% representing the 90.
No. Yeah.
Because in all intents and purposes, when black women tend to date white men, it's fine. When they date Hispanic men, even though these are lower numbers than men. So I'm not even doubting that. But when that happens, men sit there. It's cool. When y'all say, hey, I only want to date chocolate men that's over 6 foot, that's cool. Like men just say, all right, cool. I don't play ball. I'm not a ball player.
So when a woman settles, what does it look like? Is it just
always,
money?
Yes, it's always.
So it's
to
always.
Me, that's what I'm coming to realize.
All right. So we need the ladies to come and defend. What does it look like when a woman is settling? But I mean, I'm just going to say this. I don't really. You can't get me with the conversation of men don't make enough money when the whole point of feminism, right? If you want to lie about the point of feminism, right?
Yeah,
it was equity and equality.
Absolutely.
Right. So even I went back and watched Ayanna and Eboni K clip on the griot, and I will say, like, after I watched the whole clip, it was misrepresented to an extent.
Absolutely, but that's they doing.
Yeah, that's their doing, right?
And they did that on purpose.
They did it on purpose. But when I went back in there, one of the things that Eboni said, she was like, on Pew Research, it had said that women are making just as much money as men, right? That's
false.
So I went and pulled up the article, and what it said is that they did 250 metropolitan areas, and there were certain cities where women made more money than men, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the 250 cities, like how many cities do you think it was?
For her to make that comment, it better at least been like 40%.
Okay.
For her to make that comment.
I would agree, right? You would think it is a high percentage, right? So 40% would be what, 90?
Yeah.
So it was 22. It was 22 metropolitan areas.
Come on, bro.
Out of 250 where women made more money than men. Now, 2 of those cities was actually New York City and LA, right? So the women actually, 2 liberal cities, 2 high education cities.
Entertainment cities, but whatever.
Finance, entertainment in one, and entertainment and tech in the other, right?
Absolutely.
So, which would mean that everybody's working for major companies that probably have major HR departments, which are making sure that there isn't any pay inequity, right? Yeah. So when they said that like women make more money in these 2 places, right? So like how much more money do you think they made?
For her to make that comment, you got to at least be making like 20-30% more.
Okay, it was 102%, which means that for the 100,000. Take 100. Anybody at home right now, your calculator. Take 100,000.
Yes.
Multiply it times 102%. Right. It's literally 2%. Right. So the women were making 102,000. The men were making 100,000.
You know, that was the big.
And that's in the article. And Eboni is an attorney.
Bro, that's the thing. When we're not having an accountability question, which was the whole topic, by the way.
Yeah.
But when we not being accountable, we give false information.
Yes.
So and then the funny part is, I think the scariest women on this world, it's actually one subset of women I think is scary, but I won't do that because
get canceled.
I don't want to get canceled.
We know what the scary women are in this world.
I'm going to just say that black women would be on my side if I said it.
Yes, absolutely.
But the second scariest women on this planet to me is women who know better, but speak in the opposite. Let me give you an example. It's the woman who's married that has kids, but always posts articles and topics and memes about men ain't shit.
Yeah, about men ain't shit and baby daddies and stuff.
It's like,
and she's happy with her husband. She does everything for her. But you know, we actually see this, speaking of the women that we don't want to talk about, we actually see this with conservative women a lot, right?
Yes.
Like conservative women will actually be like Kellyanne.
Absolutely.
Right? Most conservative woman, in the world, married to a liberal husband, right?
Absolutely.
We see this with
a daughter.
Yeah, with a daughter.
Let's specify.
Yeah, so it's like the Eboni K's are dangerous, right? Now, the reason why I brought that up is if women see that if you date a man with less money, right? Like 102,000 to 100,000, and you're saying, well, that's settling. Well, it's part of feminism, right? This is, if it was what you say it was, and it's not, but if it was what you said it was, it would be equity, right? Like we would both have the same.
Facts.
So that means that when we get to the top, there can't be a more top.
Facts. And then but let's do this. Let's be fair. What does settling look like for men? You in this dating pool somewhat, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Typically settling for men means that you're either taking in another man's child or you're taking in a woman that's not really what you're attracted to. She's everything else, except for like what you want. That's typically what settling is for men.
And so women, we need y'all to answer. What is settling?
Well, we're going to get absolutely ripped on that comment. But and you know what?
I'm here for it.
We're going to get ripped on that comment.
I'm going to be busy next week.
But at the end of the pod, we actually got a segment that we're going to play for y'all.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that shit.
Hey, y'all could tear me up next week. I'm actually going to be super busy, so I won't have time to comment on y'all. But
what does settling look like for women? I don't know. It seems like it's money, but if women are making the same amount of money as men,
you know what? I will give it this.
How is that selling anymore?
Well, we know they don't make them that much. And then I loved how
22 cities, right?
Look, 22. And it was funny on Ebony's comments on Twitter. Women was posting false information, and I got to give it up to black women. Y'all was tearing her ass up on Twitter.
Yeah.
I will say that. Now that might go into my women don't like women's segment, but y'all know how that go. Also, I have spoken to women. Sometimes they date dudes who, he can't pull girls that look like me. But I'm giving him a chance because he's a nice guy.
You know what? I would say that would be a woman settling. But let's be clear, right? She's still not. He either has resources, he worshipped the ground that she walks on.
Yeah, and
he's like a gorilla in the bedroom, right? Like it's not like she's taking a charity case, right? There's a benefit, from this, and there's a benefit for men too. Like I don't want to say that being a stepdad is settling. Per se, because life happens. But, like most men,